If it walks like a fascist and talks like a fascist, then guess what? It's a fascist. It seems to me that corporate mainstream media seems to be once again struggling to call a thing a thing. You see, when an unelected person enters into government without any clearance whatsoever, goes into the Department of Treasury, sicks their goons into our most precious financial information, and then changes the data and codes, guess what, friends? That's called a coup. I know that the New York Times, the LA Times, the Washington Post may not know how to spell that, but that's what it is. And it's interesting. Just think to yourself, if what is happening in America right now was happening anywhere else in the world, do you think that corporate mainstream media would be struggling to figure out what to call it and how to discuss it? But no, for them, it's business as usual. But on the Danielle Moodie Show, we deal in reality. So buckle up, dear friends. Let's get started. Hello, damnation, and welcome to the Danielle Moodie Show. You know, where we tell the truth, regardless of how it may hurt some people's feelings. I want to be honest with you. Over the last couple of weeks of this administration, I have vacillated between fear, rage, depression, grief, and then back to rage again. And through those cycles that I'm certain every single one of you is going through as well, as a person that has made their career in the public sphere, talking about politics, talking about the importance of civic engagement and activism and providing critical analysis on our government and government officials and just frankly the world around us, I started to question whether or not I was actually going to continue doing the work that I've been doing for nearly 20 years. And I've had friends and loved ones tell me that maybe, I should think about doing something different, that the world is not the same way it was 20 years ago, and that by virtue of telling the truth and being thoughtful and offering critical analysis, I'm going to be putting myself in danger and in harm's way. And, through a lot of tears and meditation and prayers, I've decided something today. Just it came to me. And maybe it's because Jupiter has stationed direct. And maybe it's because Jupiter is the planet of expansion and bold action. But I've decided that here's the thing, I'm not going to go anywhere until it is illegal for me to tell the truth and to see the world with eyes wide open. I'm going to continue doing what I believe that I've been called to do, which is to call a spade a fucking spade, right? And so I call on folks who are in this moment feeling extraordinarily fearful that fascism is not new. And I'm not telling you that I'm not scared. I'm not telling you that I don't cry at least once or twice a day. But what I'm saying is, I'm going to continue putting one foot in front of the other because that's the only thing I know how to do. And I encourage us all to do the same because our fear is what these motherfuckers feed on. This first 2 weeks, I think that Donald Trump has called it, weeks of thunder, where they come in and clap in and making moves and doing all of these big actions so that we feel absolutely terrified and helpless. And I am going to remind us that we are not. Okay. Am I going to tell you that, everything is going to go back to normal in 2 years or 4 years or 40? Absolutely fucking not. But I am going to tell us to put one foot in front of the fucking other and figure out what we can do, how we can organize at our local level take care of what is outside of our front door and do that on a regular basis and not back down, because that's what they want us to do. And so today I decided I'm not going to fucking do it. I'm going to do what I've been called to do until somebody pulls the plug. And even then, dear friends, I'm pretty sure my ancestors are guiding me to figure out a fucking way, because that's what Black people do. We find a way, make a way out of absolutely no way. Okay? So that's where I am. Little PSA aside. Let's move into where we are with this fuckery. But what the energy that I'm conjuring today is this, right? Nikki Giovanni, who passed away recently, has always been a guide and a voice in my heart and on my spirit. And this reads, if now isn't a good time for the truth, I don't see when we'll get to it. Okay? So that's what we do here. For those of you who are walking in and may be new, we do the truth here. We do the unvarnished, unfiltered truth with a little bit of F-bombs too, for good measure. So let's start with this motherfucker, shall we? Okay. And for those of you putting questions in, yes, today is Town Hall Tuesday. I take questions at the end of the show. So please copy and paste whatever you just put into the chat, hold it to the side, and I will absolutely get to those questions when we reach the Town Hall portion, which is at the end of the regular show. But appreciate you and the eagerness. Love it so much. Okay. So where are we today? We're with the most evil person that I think any of us have ever seen. Now, I know Donald Trump is upset because he wanted to be the most evil person, but I've been saying for quite some time that it's not him, because Elon Musk is richer. Elon Musk has global ambitions of manifest destiny for white nationalism in a way that Donald Trump really, truly only thinks about himself. Elon Musk is out here playing Monopoly with people's lives and not giving a fuck at all. And that should have been apparent to everyone when he gave his Heil Hitler on Inauguration Day. You know, when we recognize once and for all, finally, that the media doesn't actually give a fuck. And that instead of admonishing Elon Musk, instead of calling him a fascist and what he is, they wanted to talk to us about literal degrees. Well, a Heil Hitler is at 90 degrees and this was at 85. So I think that he was really giving, miss me with it. Okay. It's exhausting. So we're not going to trouble ourselves with their fuckery. We're actually just going to get to it. So you can't spell evil without Elon, right? Got all the letters there except for one. Okay. And what has Elon Musk been up to? Well, I'll tell you. Him and his band of yes folks, 19 and 20-year-olds, and I don't mean 20 as in like 27, 28, like late 20s on the verge of 30. I mean fucking 20s like I'm still wearing my college clothes. 20s. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean 19-year-olds as in I can't go out and legally get a drink. 19-year-olds have invaded the Department of the Treasury because they rolled up there like the band of thugs that they are. And because security didn't want to get fired, they went ahead and let them in, these people that are unauthorized, right, into our system. So what does this read here? Let me tell you. A 25-year-old with Elon Musk ties has direct access to the federal payment system. The Bureau of the Fiscal Service is a sleepy part of the Treasury Department. It's also where sources say, hold on to your hats, folks, a 25-year-old engineer whose jobs have been being Elon Musk's, you know, I don't know, goon in chief, has privileges over the code, folks, that controls Social Security payments, tax returns, and more. Yeah. So, what we're all getting ready to do in what is it, like 2 months, which is pay our taxes. Well, we might as well probably just send that money over directly to Elon Musk and Donald Trump and their crew. How they like to sign their names on things, like, because when we're doing our tax returns, you best believe this year it ain't going to do no good except add more gold toilets to Donald Trump's resorts, go add more fuel to Elon Musk's fire so that he can burn down the world. And then that MAGA can get a little break me off. That's where your tax returns are going. Why do I say that? Well, because a 25-year-old engineer named Marco Ilez, who previously worked for 2 Elon Musk companies, has direct access now to the Treasury system, responsible for nearly all payments made by the U.S. government. 3 sources told Wired. 2 of those sources say that Ilez's privileges include the ability to not just read, but to write code on 2 of the most sensitive systems in the U.S. government, the Payment Automation Manager and Secure Payment System at the Bureau of Fiscal Service, BFS. Housed on a secure mainframe, these systems control, on a granular level, government payments that in their totality amount to more than a fifth of the U.S. economy. Everyone take a deep breath in and out. So Elon Musk's henchmen, right, like his, I guess, bro fraternity, now have access to a fifth of the U.S. economy. Anyone concerned? Anyone here worried? Do you hear or see any Democrat going anywhere talking about this right now? There were a couple that were out yesterday that were saying that this is broadly illegal, but I don't see any other action that they're taking other than going in front of a microphone. Now, here's the thing. Going in front of a microphone is my job. But if I was, say, an elected official where somebody actually gave me power to do something, maybe I would do something more than just talk shit. Do you know what I'm saying? So now, not only do they have access to everything, but also our social security numbers, our sensitive financial information. And can somebody remind me who else Elon Musk has deep ties to? Could it be a man named Vladimir? Could it be a man named Orban? Could it be the fact that most of the people that continue to make X, Twitter solvent are the Saudis? So you didn't need to take military action in order to have a coup. You needed to pay $270 million, which is what Elon Musk did, to buy a president and then move that motherfucker aside because all he wanted was a get out of jail free card anyway. He's not really interested in governing. He just likes signing things. You see how excited Donald Trump gets when they put another folder in front of him and they say, Mr. Trump, Mr. President, here's something for you to sign and let me read it to you so you know what you're signing. And he's just like, a kid in a fucking candy store, like shitting himself with excitement. Like, that's all Donald Trump cares about. This is a vanity project for him. For Elon Musk, however, this is about global domination because it's not enough to have an ungodly amount of money and power. No, you only feel powerful if you're a person like Elon Musk, if you have the ability to wield that power on the most vulnerable. So, what is Elon Musk's deal? Well, let me tell you. His deal is Black people and people of color. You see, Elon Musk grew up in apartheid South Africa. He didn't really like it when daddy's power was taken away, when, the world recognized what a disgusting racist system that, side note, they borrowed from the United States and Jim Crow and then supersized it over in South Africa. And so you have to understand that Elon Musk's grievances with Black people and people of color run real deep, I guess kind of like Confederacy deep. So his mission, right, is to do away with Black people and people of color. And so, what are the ways in which you do that? Oh, by leveraging your power and squeezing them out. And how would you do that? Well, I'll tell you. You go after USAID, which is not a wasteful organization, right? It is about 1% of maybe America's spending, like legitimately, like 1% of what it is. Like if you really wanted to talk about wastefulness and efficiency, then you would go after the fucking Pentagon. Do you know what I'm saying? You'd ransack over there, but you're not going to do that because that's where Elon Musk holds a lot of his billions of dollars of contracts, as does Bezos, right? And NASA and all of that. So they're not going to touch that. But if you're a white nationalist, do you really care if people in the Sudan die of starvation, or if you stop HIV medications from being administered and then millions of people die in South Africa and other nations around the world because they happen to be Black? No, you actually don't give a damn. You're probably getting high-fived, right? In these backroom places where everybody is white and sipping bourbon and smoking cigars. And you're saying, yeah, we'll get them, right? So you cut off the funding. The world calls you evil, but you don't give a fuck because guess what? You've set yourself up in such a way that they actually need you, right? They need Starlink. They need this. They need that. So you've been pretending this whole time to only care about technology, but what you really care about is a technocracy and a takeover of areas of the world that you don't like. Because what you really want to secure is white supremacy. And how do you do that? Well, you expand disease, starvation, and you hope and pray that that will take care of it. And if not, then you'll knock off whoever is left, or you'll absolutely suffocate their governments with tariffs and all of the things that we've done anyway to nations in Africa, which is why they've never been able to rebound from colonization and all of the extraction that every nation has done. Are we keeping up? Okay. So, folks, this is a bigger game to them. You have to understand that. So, MAGA inside of America, they care about getting rid of the trans folks and the Black folks and the immigrants and the this, that, and the other thing, right? But they're not global in their ambitions. They don't really care about that. They just want to be kings and queens of their own fiefdoms. Elon Musk, however, has world domination ambitions, and making America the crown jewel of his empire is a way to strike fear into other countries around the world so that they'll just take the knee. Do you see the plan now? Right? The plan that seems to be quite obvious to me. And let's just say, I don't have a Nobel Peace Prize or a Pulitzer, but it doesn't seem like rocket science. It seems like if you wanted to look for the dots and connect them, they're pretty much all in front of your face. Of course, that's if you care, right? and you're not just trying to curry favor or access, which is what our current media structure does. So there you have it. This is where we are. This is why you're seeing headlines like this. Trump threatens to cut funding for South Africa over land policy. Do you think that Donald Trump gives a fuck about South Africa? Do you think that Donald Trump could find South Africa on a map? I don't think so. But what Donald Trump has announced sounds eerily like what you've heard from Elon Musk. He's just puppeting it. So here you have it. Donald Trump has said he will cut all future funding for South Africa over allegations that it's confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly. Let me stop you right there. You see, land is a really powerful thing. It's why after the Civil War, they didn't want to give formerly enslaved Africans the 40 acres and a mule that they asked for, because land is power. It's why you would stop women from being able to control property and just keep them as property. It is why at times only white men were able to have property, right? Because property is power. So inside of South Africa, following the end of apartheid, still 30% of land ownership is under the rule and the hands of white Afrikaans, right? So their president, trying to right this wrong, is in fact trying to create a more equitable system. Let me just say this. I don't even know if it's the president of South Africa, but I know this. Land equals money. They have wanted to have South Africa be actually for Black South Africans and transfer the land that was stolen from Black South Africans back into the hands of Black South Africans. So what is it that is happening is that the president has said that they're signing into law, right? Ramaphosa signed into law a bill that allows land seizures without compensation in certain circumstances. Land ownership has long been a contentious issue in South Africa, with most private farmland owned by white people. 30 years after the end of racist system of apartheid, there have been continuous calls for the government to address land reform and deal with past injustices and racial segregation. Folks, so do you think that Donald Trump cares about South Africa and land? No. Elon Musk cares about South Africa and land and having a lot of it in the hands of white Afrikaans, right? So that's the move that is being made right now. Now, here's the thing. Donald Trump is setting it up where our allies can't trust us. He is reorganizing the axis of evil, putting America at the center of it. And soon, most people are going to start, most nations, closing their doors to the United States. Now, the United States, much like many other nations inside of this global economy, can't exist on their own. My dream for the continent of the continent of Africa has always been that they could exist on their own, the entire continent, right? But because of all of the toxic strife, colonization, grabs by Russia, China, and the like, African nations have never truly been able to come out of the debt, right, that colonization has put them in. They've had to buy out their freedom, much in the same way, right, that Haiti did. Haiti being the first, right, formerly enslaved nation to get free. And then France said, oh, but you're going to have to pay us. And so they've been under seismic debt ever since, because the world, including the United States and the UK, have wanted to make an example of them. That is the same thing practice that they have done all over the continent. So if you want to talk about a space where meddling and white supremacy have ruled for centuries, it's the continent. But you want to talk about the one place that could close off, it's the continent. And Elon Musk sees these little sparks of independence happening throughout. Burkina Faso, the president there just paid off all of the debt, right? He's removed French from their language. He has removed French names from the streets. And he said, we don't want you people. Leave. Let that be an example to other nations on what is happening there. They see the white colonizers, they see the writing on the wall. They see places that have received their independence, but now want to take them off their money, right? Now want to remove them from the streets. They've seen this uprising slowly happening like a slow moving tsunami. And Elon Musk wants to put an end to it. One, because he's greedy beyond measure. I cannot imagine having the kind of wealth that this man has and not just, I don't know, minding my own fucking business, owning a couple of fucking islands and just, living life. But that's not what evil does. Evil can only feed on fear and grief and depravity. But I need for you all to understand, like, America is only a piece of the larger puzzle that they're putting together. And if America can fall, which it is, falling right before our eyes, then everything is up for grabs. Then no nation that has relied on, whether it be the United States philanthropy or military support or what have you, can survive. Do you see? So if you can take down America, if you can own a president, and you can do so without the actions of a military, and you can just go in and change some code so that you're redirecting our tax dollars into your own coffers as opposed to fixing roads or building our military or schools or anything like that, then you have 330 million people, right, that are just funding your desire for world domination. And everybody else better get out of the way. That is the grift. That's the scheme. That's what they're working on. That's what they've put into motion. You see, Americans are so focused on America always. We don't really pay attention to what is happening around the world. And now, like I've said last week, the chickens have come home to roost, right? And now those that have prayed for the demise and breakdown of America, well, they are popping motherfucking popcorn right now while we're trying to figure out if this is really happening. And just so you know, it is. Oh, friends. And so you say, Danielle, well, we might as well just give up. We might as well just pack up our bags and forget about it. And I say, hold on, wait a minute. Because something happened today and it matters. And what is that? Oh, Target's shareholders are suing them. For what, you ask? Let me tell you. Target is being sued for defrauding shareholders about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Hmm, what do you mean? Well, um, Target has been sued for allegedly concealing the risks of its diversity and social initiatives, leading to a backlash that caused customers to flee and the stock price of the Minneapolis-based retailer to plummet. In a proposed class action on Friday, shareholders led by the city of Riviera Beach Police Pension Fund in Florida said Target defrauded them into paying inflated prices for its stock and unknowingly supporting management's misuse of investor funds to serve political and social goals. Oh, this part of the find out of the fuck around is glorious. Y'all, we don't have a lot to celebrate and a lot to just cling, cling, cheers our glasses to, but this is it. You see, it's not that diversity, equity, and inclusion practices is what plummeted their stocks. It was deciding that they were going to pull out of the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that then sent a message to customers and the public. Oh, we're not really interested in doing anything to support Black people, people of color, queer people, women, people with disabilities, etc., etc. Who the fuck do you think shops there? Did they just think it was white nationalists that had their stock and their business booming for all of these years? But as they watched their stocks plummet, guess whose stock was going up? Costco. And why is that? Because Costco has come out and made their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion known and said, we are doubling down. We're actually not going to do away with our practices and initiatives. And so this is why I want to remind folks, yes, it is dark. Yes, things are bleak. But the fact of the matter is, we still have power. What power is that? The power of our pockets. We can direct our resources where we want them to go. You don't need to shop at Target, right? You can find either a local business to support or big business that actually gives a shit about people. So when I say that we need a national strike, when I say that we need a national boycott, it is to make these companies that have abandoned their goals and their supposed principles to cut them off at the knees. That's what I mean, right? I don't want us laying around talking about we're hopeless, we're this, we're depressed. We all fucking are. But you know what? You can't afford to wallow right now. You actually need to be activated. So what could that look like? Well, let me tell you, it could look like gathering, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 people, gathering your neighborhood and saying, you know what, y'all, this Saturday, let's all march over to the Target and be like, we ain't shopping here no more. It's Saturday. Hope y'all having a good one. Rah, rah, rah. And we're going right to Costco. And we're doing a diversity, equity, and inclusion buy-in, right? We're buying where people actually give a damn about us, right? Folks, it doesn't take a lot of imagination. It just takes a moment for us to think, what can I do where I am? Who can I call? How can I organize? Right? How can I galvanize my group of people? And then maybe that snowballs into something else, into a bigger action, into a bigger action, into a bigger action. That is something that is done every week, right? Until more and more people are joining in. This is what I mean when we say we need collective action and not to be wallowing in silos, but to be linking arms with other folks and getting things done. there is opportunity. Speaking of which, we're going to run through these quickly. There is a 50-state protest happening tomorrow, and it is happening at state capitol buildings around the country. And you can go to 50501 movement.bluesky.social, find out more. You can also hit up their Instagram account. But here are the place. Here is a little bit of information. The 501 movement, or 50 states, 50 protests one day, is garnering support throughout social media over its plan to stage demonstrations across the nation to fight fascism tomorrow, February 5th. Why it matters. The protests are against I'm not saying that. The protests are against Trump and his actions during his first 2 weeks back in the White House. He has issued a flurry of executive orders, which you all know, fulfilling campaign promises such as clamping down on immigration, pardoning people who took place in, trying to overturn our government, so on and so forth. Here are the places. I want you all to screenshot, save this episode, send it to folks. These are the places where actions are happening tomorrow, largely between noon and 3 p.m. Listing all the way down all of the states. Here is Arizona to Mississippi. Here is Missouri to Vermont. Here is Virginia to Wyoming. Again, I encourage folks who keep asking what people are doing, where people are organizing. Here is where it's happening. I'm going to go backwards real quick so that you can see where these actions are taking place. There are actions that are taking place. Again, the organization 50501 movement. Go check out their Instagram. Go figure out where things are happening, screenshot, etc. Here are the states again, states again, states again. But here's the other thing that I want to offer, and we'll talk about this more on Thursday for our call to action day. But Deepa Iyer, who is an extraordinary movement builder and activist, created this social change ecosystem map. And on this map, she lays out the different roles that we need in order to create equity, liberation, justice, and solidarity. And we're going to go through this more on Thursday. But to find out information, you can, again, look on Instagram or Google Building Movement Project. People continue to ask me, what can I do? How can I get involved? What is my role? And what Deepa offers is this. In our lives and as part of organizations, workplaces, and movements, many of us play different roles in pursuit of equity, shared liberation, inclusion, and justice. And yet, we often get overwhelmed, lost, and burned out. Some of us are newcomers to ongoing social change efforts and don't know where to start. Still, others are catalyzed into action in the midst of crisis in our community. And so Deepa offers this incredible map, which lays out the roles of weavers, guides, storytellers, healers, disruptors, caregivers, builders, visionaries, frontline responders, experimenters. And on Thursday, we will roll through, right, what each of these roles mean, what they do, and how you can adapt them in your own lives. Again, go to Building Movement Project. She also has a workbook and a guide. It is extraordinary, and I'm hoping to get her to join us on the Danielle Moodie Show in the coming weeks to have a conversation about how we activate, okay? And so, get your questions ready. I want to end today with, again, how I opened, with some words from the brilliant visionary poet and late thought leader Nikki Giovanni.
It's nothing unless we are willing to be responsible for those who love us as well as those whom we love. People don't just love you out of the blue, you let them. And people have loved me when I needed to be loved. So as an adult, I must give some of that love back to those who want it, or it would have all have been for nothing. I think I'm no different from any other colored girl who has to grow up and make decisions and live by them. I think we are all capable of tremendous beauty once we decide we are beautiful, or of giving a lot of love once we understand love is possible, and of making the world over in that image if we choose to. I really like to think a black, beautiful, loving world is possible. I really do, I think.
Extraordinary words about love and what it means to love and to believe in revolutionary love and change. And finally, this, one of my favorite poems by Nikki Giovanni, Revolutionary Dreams. I used to dream militant dreams of taking over America to show these white folk how it should be done. I used to dream radical dreams of blowing everyone away with my perceptive powers of correct analysis. I even used to think I'd be the one to stop the riot and negotiate the peace. Then I awoke and dug that if I dreamed natural dreams of being a natural woman doing what a woman does when she's natural, I would have a revolution. All right, dear friends, it is time for Town Hall Tuesday. Let's get into it. All right, question time. Please put question in capital letters so that I can be flagged and pull them down. Are you aware? This is from Triple Dose. Question: are you aware of YouTube? I'm assuming it's YouTube video titled "Dark Gothic MAGA: How Tech Billionaires Plan to Destroy America." It connects the dots you mentioned about tech billionaires' plans of global tyranny. No, I am not aware of it. And yes, I am going to find it because that sounds like it is right up my alley. So everyone, check out Dark Gothic MAGA. Questions, please. Could you start a Patreon or membership for Damnation? I'd like to contribute regularly. Oh, that is so kind, JG. Thank you so much. I do have a Patreon. It is wokeaf/Patreon. I have wonderful supporters that are over there, but I have been considering a membership model for Damnation, but I haven't quite figured out. One, I just kind of like the idea that people contribute when they can. I know that a lot of people on YouTube create tiers and create exclusive content and X, Y, and Z. So I've been thinking about it. But if you are interested, JG, and I appreciate this, in supporting me monthly, I do have a Patreon over that is wokeaf. And you can find me over there. And I mean, any donation would be greatly, greatly appreciated. So I thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. Question, Skyly. What are your thoughts on the news regarding Rubio's talks with El Salvador sending deportees to I just can't believe that he was unanimously confirmed. Like, what the fuck? This is exactly what I'm saying about Democrats, and like for us to stop feeding into this fantasy that somehow they're going to wake up and be better than they are. Because one of Marco Rubio's first decisions was to hire a white supremacist to be our diplomat, a man that said that we need competent white men in jobs. Right? So what do I think about it? I think he could go fuck himself. That's what I think about little Marco. I think that he's a bootlicker and he is disgusting and embarrassing and didn't even stand up for his own wife. But the fact that Democrats voted alongside Republicans because what he was one of them makes me sick. Let's see. Doug. Question: aren't school vouchers merely discount coupons for rich people who are already planning to send their children to private schools? Here's my thing. Um, yes, and or yes, but vouchers were honestly supposed to be for low income people to be able to have school choice and be able to send their kids to charter schools. I worked at a charter school many years ago in Washington, D.C., and it was a good charter school. But guess what? Charters didn't have to follow any of the rules that public education public schools did. And so they didn't have to follow any of the testing rules. They didn't have to follow any of the curriculum rules or anything like that. And that is why Republicans loved school choice so much, is because they were just going to defund, which they're going to do now. He's signing an executive order, because we know he loves to sign his name, to defund public education and make it all privatized, right? So that you have basically the wild, wild west of education. And we know who is not going to be successful in that space. And that's the point, to create a permanent underclass in America. Question, comment. Oh, thank you very much. I am thankful for you and think of you. A blessing to us. Just wanted to say, Rebecca, thank you very much. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. I tell you all that your comments, they mean a lot to me, particularly when I'm having very shitty days. Oof, Abe, do we really want to know the answer to this question? How does America look 1 year from now? Fingers crossed. Abe, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how America looks in June. I don't know what we look like in April. But I know that it won't look like a democracy. I know that it will look like more attacks on the media now that Kash Patel is going to be leading the charge at the FBI to, sort out the enemy from within, which is anybody that dissents against Trump, and they have the ability to call anybody a terrorist. So what do we look like a year from now? Inshallah, I have no idea. I don't know if America will exist. Why didn't Congress have EM arrested in real time? Why do the people have to endure this madness? I don't know. Because the same way that Joe Biden also gave Elon Musk billions of dollars in fucking, government contracts, because they all want to do deals with the devil and think that the devil ain't going to burn them, right? Like, that's what this is. Elon Musk made himself into this tech giant, this genius that was on the cover of every paper, every magazine. Oh my God, we need him. We need him. Let us throw money at him, right? Until you realize, why does this motherfucker have top security clearance? Why is he getting in office? Why is he creating a fake agency and now has access to all of our information? But now it's too late, So why didn't they arrest him? Because they wanted to be in the club. That's why. Courtney. Question: how do you prep for these shows? You have an immense gift from start to finish. Engagement, or you all are going to think I'm like paying these people to write these lovely comments. It's poetry. You have a masterclass in presentation. Thank you very much, Courtney. How do I prepare for the shows? I prepare all day, actually. I am pulling news articles and reading things and watching things all day long and trying to decide what the theme of each show by the time that we get to the evening is going to be. Sometimes, you all have broke news for me while I'm on air, because I can't be on air and on social media seeing, what is happening. And I put my phone on, like not to have my alerts popping up. So I prepare all day. But I'm not new to this. I have been doing TV and podcasting for like the last 15 years. So it is, a part of it is, I guess, a gift. Another part of it is a lot of hard work. It is a lot of many, many years of doing this kind of work. But I'm glad that you enjoy it. I appreciate the comment and the question. Um, Question: do you know the YouTuber Riverboat Jack? She's been doing amazing work along with you. I watch whenever she streams. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you. And happy Black History Month to you. I do not know Riverboat Jack, but I will absolutely check them out. I like to check out other YouTubers, other, people on TikTok, etc. And seeing how they're spreading their message and like building their audiences. So I'll always check out other folks. Question: hey Danielle, have you heard of the progressive running for New York City mayor? I'm assuming it's Zoran Mamdani. Can you have him on one of your shows? I will absolutely ask one of my producers to look into it. Anyone will be better than Eric Adams. God, I can't stand him. But everybody wanted a cop. Spread the lie about there being high rates of crime, this, that, and the other thing. Oh, we need the cop. That then wanted to shut down our fucking public libraries and shut down after school programs, also that he could give the cops more money or actually give himself more money. But, those cases are going away because he did the tap dance and the jig for Donald Trump. Ugh, we're in hell. Question. Oh, this is a good one. Ernie, question: what was the point of the FBI and the CIA and the NSA if when the Nazis are at the door, they simply open it and let them in? Well, let's be clear what those programs were really for and why they were created in the first place: to stop Black liberation in this country. And that is actually 100% the truth. They were created in order to spy on any type of formation of Black liberation from well before the civil rights movement to, right, the Black Panthers and so on and so forth. So it's funny the way in which MAGA has turned these places into like woke places because they were following the law for once, but mostly like they haven't. They have been the legalized thugs of the United States, stamping down liberation movements all over the place. Like that's been their role. So, but it's the funny to me, hilarious that MAGA turned them into this woke force that actually gives a shit about the people because they never have, ever. This, Philip, is a question that I've been asking myself every day. Do you think America is too divided for a mass revolutionary movement of the people? I feel like the people of this country, I don't know when, are going to get to a place where the vice around their neck is just too tight. And it's fine when one group of people can't breathe. But when all people can't breathe, it's going to be a problem. So my hope is that what Elon Musk and Donald Trump have created, my hope is a common enemy, right? And that is the uber wealthy that don't care to pay their taxes, that don't care to help anyone out but themselves. And so instead of us fighting over the crumbs, like I say, that they throw out before us, people are going to start to want the whole fucking pie. And maybe that will be the thing that unites them. Unfortunately, it is going to require folks to lose a lot in order to regain something. Good question. Leslie, question: where is the U.S. military? America is facing a catastrophic domestic threat. The U.S. military was never formed to deal with domestic threats. It was formed to deal with foreign threats, right? But Donald Trump is getting ready to weaponize the U.S. military against the people of these United States. That's what Hegseth has said on all of these podcasts that he did before he became the Secretary of Defense. right? America needs to start directing its military power to the enemy, what? Within. So where is the US military? Under control of white supremacists. That's where. I'm going to take two more questions. Kate. Pelosi chose Connolly over AOC. Connolly has 4,000 followers. AOC has 20,000 followers. White male ego more important than saving America? Yes. Yes. It is why Jonathan Metzl wrote the book Dying of Whiteness. I mean, that was really about healthcare, but yes, absolutely. Nancy Pelosi would rather promote septuagenarians and octogenarians that are battling cancer to lead the Democratic Party in a circle than put the full weight of the Democratic establishment behind women, and particularly women of color. So, yeah. Ego. And again, what did I say yesterday that Martin Luther King said that always sticks with me? That the greatest stumbling block to justice was not going to be the Ku Klux Klanmen or the White Citizens Council or the Proud Boys or MAGA. It was going to be the white moderates that are more invested in their comfort than they are in justice. So there is that. Funny. Rashad. Does calling our elected officials, senators, House Republicans, actually make a difference? Won't they vote the way they want, even if against their constituents' wishes and risk of being voted out? I'm of two minds here. No, I think that absolutely bombarding their offices with phone calls is absolutely what we should be doing. I think that showing up to their offices and staging sit-ins and making it very uncomfortable for them to do their jobs or pretend that none of this is happening is what we should be doing. I think that direct action, right? Democrats, unlike MAGA, are actually afraid, right, of the people. And so if the people continue to call and start showing up the way that they did to Chuck Schumer's upstate office today, then they'll start maybe to think about taking some type of fucking action, even if that action, right, at this point is them just galvanizing the people by being on television, on social media with a consistent shared message that is going around and building up an echo chamber and an ecosystem. So no, I think that when they vote how they want, when the people aren't paying attention, but the people are paying attention because they're terrified, right? And they want them to take action. So no, I say call, I say sit in, right? I say do the most at this point in time. Last question. This is a good one to end on. D. Question. Do you think most of the old guard of Congress bought out or threatened to go along with Trump, even Democrats? I think I'm of a couple of minds here. I think that it wasn't so hard for Republicans to literally write out their coup plans in Project 2025 because they knew that the Democrats weren't ever going to do anything. I think that the Democrats didn't need to be bought off because they're spineless and feckless. I think that the Republicans that have gone along with Donald Trump, even those that we deem to be moderate or sensible at some time, want power, right? And if you threaten them with the loss of the little bit of power in terms of their offices that they hold, right, then they're going to do anything that you say. And so they are going along for the get along. I don't think that it was hard. That's the problem. I don't think that it was hard. I don't think that it's hard for Democrats to just throw up their hands and say, give us some time to figure things out, even though it's been 9 years. And I don't think that it's hard for Republicans to be told either you get along on this bus or we're going to drive it over you, and them to make that decision. Like, no one has a backbone in this moment. And I think that that's where I'm saying to people, stop looking outside of yourself to be guided and recognize that you're who you're waiting for. All right, dear friends, I have enjoyed this episode so much. Appreciate, as always, all of the donations that you all are putting in. Oh, no, here's a question. One last question. Okay, because I just saw this one. Gus, where are you and Don Lemon going to drop when are you and Don Lemon going to drop signs together? Everyone keeps asking me this question. So one, when Don Lemon was on CNN, I was never brought on CNN to be on with Don Lemon. I don't know Don Lemon, but people literally keep asking me since the shackles have come off of him, since being fired from CNN. He's now out speaking his mind, and I love that for him. If there is an opportunity and our paths cross, maybe we'll get something going, but I don't know why people keep saying this to me, but this is a comment that keeps coming up on all of my platforms, and it's really, really funny. I think somebody might have even asked, like, put it on one of his shows or something like that. So maybe it'll happen, folks. I don't know. But I appreciate it. Oh, dear friends, thank you so much for tuning in to Town Hall Tuesday. It is my favorite day of the week outside of the day of action, the call to action that happens on Thursdays. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for the donations. Every single dollar helps me in building out this independent media platform to give you the kind of content that you absolutely and totally deserve. If there is nothing else, folks, it's your support that is going to allow me and others like me to keep going. So I appreciate you so very much. So thank you. As always, dear friends, power to the people and to all the people power. Get woke, stay sane. It's just getting harder. And in these extraordinary times, dear friends, do stay safe. I will see you back here tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. Until then, like, subscribe, and what? Share. Like, subscribe, and share. Guess what? We are only 150 subscribers away from 13,000. We are really churning and burning over here, folks. So if you have not liked, commented, and subscribed, do so, because we are just 150 subscribers away from 13,000. We are growing quickly, and I couldn't do it without all of you spreading the word. So I appreciate you all so very much. See you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. Be well. Do something good for yourselves today and every day. See you tomorrow.